At Wembley Stadium, when the FA Cup was on in Watford, and you had all the fans, you know, razzing you outside, you know, and you and Renato walked up, and then you waved, and all the fans are singing the
oh, they were great. I mean, that was probably the happiest, well, one of the happiest days of my life, as far as achievements go.
Yeah.
And this includes a career. That was...
Well, I mean, the Essendon fans...
I couldn't, I mean, that...
But what I'm saying is that they were all sort of, you know, singing these baldy songs that were against you, you know.
If you're going to come out, with some of the stuff I come out with, then you've got to be prepared to take some stick, and it's always good humour stick. And you know, even
I mean, I saw you take that. You went in. The game was about to start. You went out, and literally, well, you did. I mean, like you said best of luck to the other side.
Of course.
You lost the match that day. I've never seen someone take it better, which, I mean, obviously, I mean, in the heart, you must have been crying in your heart.
No, I wasn't, actually. It was, in retrospect, it was enough for us to be there. We didn't actually deserve to be one goal down at half-time, but we lost the game eventually to a better team. But the next time I go, I wouldn't want to lose. But just to be there that day, just to see our fans and be on it, was just, I mean, it may sound defeatist, but it isn't. I'd love to have won. But the Everton people, a great club, and I really like the people there, and they deserve to win on the day. And but the next time I go there, I wouldn't like to lose again. But I mean, that time was just, it was, can you imagine? It was just like, I cried my eyes out. It was brilliant. Of anything that's happened to me in my career, that would touch me more than anything.
Are you happy at the moment?
I'm very happy. I'm very tired because I just finished the album, but I can't wait to play in Oz with this band, because I mean, not only are we going to hit Oz with the orchestra, we're going to hit Oz with the 13-piece band as well, and the outfits, and good goes what. So it's kind of nice because I mean, following up Dire Straits, no one could follow Dire Straits and do another rock and roll. I couldn't do that. I mean, you can't follow. It's just an amazing tour. So it's lucky we have got that alternate, you know, with it, because if you came to Australia and did another rock tour after, no one's going to be able to follow Dire Straits as a rock tour for a long time.
You're the only artist that I know on a solo level where they start with a three-piece group, they can go into then a rock and roll band, then you can come out on a tour, which, I mean, most people thought was incredible situation of just you on piano and Ray Cooper on percussion. You can go back then into like literally the original band, and now you're touring, and in Australia you're touring with a 100-piece orchestra, you know?
I know. It's what...
I know you've done it before in London.
No, I haven't. I've never done...
No, you did one performance.
I played at the Royal Festival Hall, but it wasn't the same thing. We're playing with classical musicians. It's a thing I've always wanted to do, but it's a hell of a thing to put into sort of like, to get it going. Right. And we were approached by the people in Oz, and it appealed to me because it seemed the right time to do it, and they had plenty of time to plan it. I'd have only done it, if James Newton Howard couldn't have conducted it, I wouldn't have done it, and James is doing it. And I think it's going to be probably, well, I want it to be a mind-boggler of the... It's going to be incredible, because Gus is going to record it. Gus, we've already tested the strings on the mics. I want it to be a gig where you can actually go and hear the orchestra without the band turning down, and you will... It's going to be incredible, and I'm absolutely positive of that. And it's going to be one-off. And we're going to record it, I'm going to film it, but I'm delighted it's going to be in Oz. I don't kind of want the rest of the world to see it in a funny way. The Aussies came up with a suggestion, and it's so well planned. It's so much time's gone into it, and so much thought. I sat down with James. Everyone's gone into it, and it's going to be. If it comes off, I mean, you can never predict anything, but I honestly think it's going to be one of the highlights of my career. Absolutely, I get tingles thinking about how it can be.
When you sort of come to a time where you think, well, I'm going to do another album. I mean, the last one you did was in England.
Yeah.
And this one you decided to record...
In Holland.
Right.
Yeah, well, the Phonogram, who I record for most of the world, anyway. We had really great things about their studio, and Gus went and checked it out. And it's the only studio I've ever recorded, and I can give 10 out of 10 for it. It was absolutely brilliant as far as quality of sound, the people being helpful. It was fabulous. I thought it was going to be, because it was like a major corporation studio, I thought it was going to be really sort of like doomy, but it was brilliant. The people were great, the atmosphere was fantastic. In fact, he convinced Mick Jagger. I took Mick over there, and he's going to record there as well. It's the Police have done there's been lots of albums been done there. It's just a great studio. You know, there's a time and a place. I've done enough albums in one place. You know, there's a time to change, and It's being back with Gus. I've left most of this stuff on this album to Gus, and Gus has taken command, and he went and saw the studio and said, yeah. In fact, he told me what tracks I were going to do on the album. There were 3 tracks on this album that I'd even forgotten about. And Gus, when I rang up Gus from Miami when I was on holiday, he said, these are the tracks you're doing. And I thought, oh, hold on a minute. And you know, 3 of them I'd forgotten about. And
Right.
they're good tracks. I can't stop writing songs, and I honestly think that my songwriting's getting better because I'm much more picky and choosy now, whereas I let things, certain little things go if they weren't quite right, and I just can't stop. And it's great. I mean, there's no effort anymore. It just kind of pours out.
Right.
All these people that hate Elton John are going to be sitting there and God knows he's not written another 17 songs. Good God. Good God, dear, oh dear. The first record we're putting out is Heartache because everyone agreed. We played to all the record companies all around the world, and that was the one they chose. And that's a pure pop song. It's not my favourite song on the album by a long way, but it's a Don't Go Breaking My Heart, and it was the one that was finished first, and so that's the one we're going with. I don't know Molly anymore, you know? I don't know what a hit single is. I mean, I think there are lots of hits on this album, but, you know, in the old days we used to record albums as albums, and we still do. But nowadays, I just hate that pressure. You've got to have so much, you know, 5 or 6 singles on it. And maybe after this album, which I think is a pretty good album, we'll go back to making an album as far as not even going to be commercial. You know, you heard one of the songs from the next album, Heavy Traffic.
That's what I find extraordinary, because, I mean, that song alone is a hit.
But I don't,
now,
you know,
then, whatever, you know?
Well, you know, you're talking to someone who thought Benny and the Jets was the biggest flop in the world, and someone who thought Bohemian Rhapsody, I told John Reid never to put it out. He must be joking. So, I mean, in that respect, that's why we're in it. It's always a thrill sometimes to find out you're wrong, and I'm usually more wrong than right.
I've seen you unhappy on stage sometimes, but I've seen you incredibly happy. Do you have any regrets of what?
I have no regrets about anything I've done in my career at all. As an artist, you always get highs and lows, and you always will. And that's the great thing about it. Just sometimes you can go through a situation, a period of time where you can create a lot of great things. Sometimes you can't, and you never know. But I think I always want to improve. I don't want to end up like, I know it's horrible to say, but I don't want to end up like a Fat Stone or a Chuck Berry or a Bo Diddley playing the same song all night, you know? And I think I can't understand why those people who have talent have to play this in. And if I ever did that, then you personally will have to throttle me. Because I was always accused of he'd end up in Vegas because of the clothes, right? Which was the total opposite of what I was intended to be.
Well,
if I ever end up just singing Yellow Brick Road and your song in the Leagues Club in Sydney, then you'll have to throttle me. Or doing not even that, just doing a tour for the sake of touring. I hope I'll never do it because I think I've got the conscience not to. But if I ever do it, I mean, that would be the end of me. I think as a musician and a writer, you can improve all the time.
What advice would you give a guy that is about, or wanting to be a success in a band and believing and thinking, well, I'm giving up my job and I'm going for it? Is there any advice you'd give?
Yeah. The major change in my life, the major decisions, for example, when I fired Dee and Nigel when we were the #1 band, it's always been a stomach thing. Always follow your gut. Always be honest. Always go. It's a hard decision to make, but go for that instinct that comes maybe once every 3 or 4 years. Follow it. And if you're positive and you chance your luck, I always think you'll end up being lucky. And you've got to be positive. Take that chance. Because there's just as many talented people out there as I am. I mean, playing in dance bands. And there's thousands of them. I mean, really, they need that little push, or you just be brave. Because as a musician, you're always going to earn money anyway. Sod off, you know, playing in a dance band and playing bloody Uma Paloma Blanco. If you want to do something, go for it. And if you go for it, if you're positive in life in any direction, I think you get dividends out of it.